Hello, everyone. James Williams. Ansel, what a cracking job you did. What a fantastic look at Africa. And thanks to Sam Media for that session. Now, next up, we have a look at the future battlefield of payments, which is cybersecurity and data analytics. And I'm pleased to welcome to the show David Lotfi, the CEO and founder of Evina. David, hello.
Hello, James. How are you doing?
This is your second show of the day, but we're not finished with you yet. We're not finished with you. So first of all, thank you for sponsoring the payments report. Thank you for sponsoring this session. And I now leave you in your capable hands to run things. Enjoy. Bye.
Thank you so much, James. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to this wonderful session. Thank you again, the MEF, for organizing this incredible event around digital transformation and having this occasion to share with you our vision about what can be and what will be the future battlefield for mobile payment. Today, we have with us Joan Larroumec, Chief Marketing Officer at Evina.
Hi.
Welcome,
hello.
Joan.
Hi, hello. Welcome. Thank you.
And so most of you already know Evina. Evina is the cybersecurity solution for mobile payment. In 3 years, we changed a lot what it means being secure and what means anti-fraud in carrier billing. We make it by having an approach, wanted to add something to what was already existing, and by putting cybersecurity approach to the anti-fraud domain, putting malware analysts, PhDs, and engineers behind the field. What we also thought was that it would be important for the market to have an independent player, someone who is not a traffic company, someone who is not a content provider, to provide anti-fraud to the world economy, so that we could provide something that would be out of any conflict of interest. And we have the honor today to have with us Frederic Avril from Echovox. Echovox is the mobile monetization specialist that enables large media companies to monetize their content through carrier billing. Welcome, Frederic.
Yeah, hi, David. Hi, Joan. Thanks for having me on this virtual interview, and happy to be here to share our thoughts on cybersecurity and what we can bring to the market and to our client partners.
Thank you again, Frederic. So, yeah, the session that we want to propose to you is really to share a vision about what will be the future of mobile payment. Before doing that, let's state what is the present of the mobile payment, what is important today for carrier billing. What is important today for carrier billing, and we know that from the consumer survey report that has been released by the MEF, for example, what is really important today in carrier billing is both the fact to have a secure and reliable payment method that is trusted by the consumers, and also to have a simple and fast payment system, a frictionless experience. Both of these are linked to cybersecurity. Without anti-fraud solution, without strong cybersecurity in the payment funnel, you cannot protect the end user, you cannot enable trust. And if you don't have this trust, it's really difficult for stakeholders to accept frictionless payment methods. And that explains the success of Evina. That's why we created Evina, and that explains what we have been able to achieve so far. But during this journey, what's really interesting is that we made a discovery beyond that, and a discovery that leads us to what could be the future of mobile payment. Johan.
Yes, actually, what we realize is that we know that the big trouble for everyone is not to become a commodity. We know that, for example, for telcos, at the beginning, they were bringing, what they were doing is like to bring voice, to bring data. And then there was so much competition that at the end it's very hard to compete on the added value you bring to voice or to data. And this is why now many telcos think that their future is going to be the payment means, because payment is a new way to monetize your network and your customer base. But the problem with that is that why payment will not become a commodity, and that's really like a real big question. And while working on cybersecurity or on telcos payment, actually we found many answers to this question. And maybe David, you can tell us more about that.
Indeed. And that's really fun to start from cybersecurity and to end up with things that are so strategic for carriers and for merchants. The only way to avoid to become a commodity, to avoid to be seen as something with poor value, is to add value to the merchants and to the end user. And how can we do that today? What is today the solution for a lot of companies to grow is through data. We know that data is the oil of the 21st century, and that beyond a correct and the useful and the smart use of the data, we have the success of the greatest companies of today, Amazon, Google, all of them makes their success of being able to use data in a smart way. So we know that payment system should not become a commodity. How can they bring and could they add value to the merchants? How could they bring value to end users? And we know that data is the oil of the 21st century. In fact, payment is an oil well. Payment is an oil well. Through the payment, you have access to such an amount of data that are very, very important, because all the transactions goes through the payment and the payment part. So the click-through rate that you can see there, how it's breakdown per device, the amount of time the end user spend on every steps, how it is breakdown per device. What are the difference between these confirmation pages and this one are very important to optimize the payment. And we are not, it's not a discovery that we did on our own, and we are not the only one to think that. If we take a look at the 2020 McKinsey report about the future of payment, they make data analytics the key battleground for the payment methods. Joan, yes. You know that better than me.
Yes, because basically it makes sense. Like we know that merchants, in order to increase their monetization, they are looking at data. They need a lot of data. This is the only way they can optimize their funnels and they can grow their business. And so it means that when they're going to find, to choose a mean of payment, they will going to wonder, of course, of the first two things we said, like simplicity, frictionless, trust, no fraud. This is the basics. But now what's going to be a very big criteria in which solutions they will choose is which solution can bring them good data. And so now someone who's operating a payment means has a responsibility, or at least a way to give a lot of data. And this is how you create added value. And this is how you don't get commoditized. But what we realized also is we have a whole industry using this data, but actually most of the time this data is not really usable. And David, I think you can tell us more about why and how we found this.
So yes, data is the oil of the 21st century. But if you take oil directly from the ground to your engines, it won't be very good for your car. Data has to be refined, has to be purified as fuel, as oil have to be refined and purified before being used. Or at Evina, we are a cybersecurity company. We are very good at detecting that what is happening on the page is not real. We are very good at seeing malwares that are coming into your pages. We are very good at finding farm bots. We are very good at reverse engineering how the fraudsters access the payment platform. And therefore, thanks to all those sensors and all the data that we collect, we are able to identify that some visits are fake. At the beginning of Evina, what we were doing so far the previous year was to protect the end user from unwilling subscription. So we work hard to make sure that user, when they subscribe, it's under their consent, they have seen the page and they have made the action of paying. But by gathering all those data at the payment moment, we also see that even if some part of the traffic was not clicking on the payment buttons, the merchants, the content provider that were selling products were fooled by fraudsters at an ad layer, on the ad layer, that were sending to them bad traffic. This traffic, even if it's blocked and do not generate fake transaction, is tainting the data with fraud. And that's again not data that we come, it's a general accepted value from all the payment and all the ad industry. 20% of ads are fraudulent, are fake ad clicks. 20% of the traffic generated by advertisement are fraudulent worldwide on average. So your data are tainted with fraud. It means that the data analyst that you put behind the analysis of your click-through rate to know which will be the best confirmation page, to understand if there is a bug on your page, to understand if your page loads correctly, to understand how iOS users react to this payment flow, VS, how Android users react to this payment flow. So how this customer journey performs against this one is tainted by fraud. So the cost, all the energy that you're putting in analyzing what is going on, and all the spend and the media spend that you do are tainted by fraud, and it generates a strong loss of value.
Yes, and what's interesting is that we realize that maybe when you operate a payment mean, like a payment method, you think that, oh, I can only see what's happening when the click goes through the payment button. But actually what we realized is that only because you have the payment page, as David said, we can get a lot of information from the payment page and from visit on the payment page, which means that only by operating a payment method, you can get a lot more data that people think usually they can have, and very, very valuable data for merchants and for anyone operating this. So that's why actually we developed from our DCB Protect solutions that was protecting only the payment button. We developed a new add-on, a new product that we call Traffic Screener that gets all the information from the payment page. And it means that suddenly when you're using a payment method like DCB, you're not only having like a quick, easy, frictionless payment method. You have a lot of data, not only about who is clicking, but also who is visiting your payment page. And suddenly it creates a lot of things and that's why we wanted to talk with Frederic, because as sales director of Echovox, he's been one of our privileged partner on working on this. And I think it's going to be very interesting to hear more about from him how people really react to that kind of data, to see how really we can go much further to have a simple payment means to something that brings much more value. So thank you, Frederic. And can you tell first, just to introduce yourself a little bit, can you tell us a little bit more about what Echovox does? I think you're mute. You're in mute, Frederic, I think.
Yes, sorry.
It's fine.
Now you can hear me now.
Yes.
So yeah, very quickly, a short introduction on what I'm doing at Echovox and what is Echovox at the end. So I'm currently managing the sales for Echovox, which is a long-run payment gateway that is based from Switzerland. So we were founded in 20,000, so more than 20 years ago, and we've been acting as a unique payment gateway for many Western European companies, telcos connection. So thanks to that, we are working with a lot of content providers, large media companies, in order to help them to monetize their traffic. And we've been living all the way through, all the, the historical of how we can monetize with mobile payment, mobile billings, whatever premium SMS, voice premium solution, and of course direct care billing, in order to offer to them, those best solution to grow and to develop their business. So that's currently what we were doing for those years, and we've have faced, all the historical of what's happening into the payment industry, including those fraud period.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frederic. And what we really like about working with you, and that's why we can try new things together, is that we share this vision that cybersecurity is really crucial about the future of business, of payments. And without cybersecurity, there is a lot of added values that you miss.
Yeah, that's a clear statement today that our business industry is, as David said, is tainted with a lot of fraud. I mean, a couple of years ago, we didn't face, I mean, those issues that we are facing, checking, the sources of traffic, protecting the end user, protecting the telcos, and by the end, the whole payment industry, because we all know that facing with fraud is little by little killing our business, and we are checking out on a daily basis. That's why we come to you guys. We know you guys a very long time ago, and we decide to make the move to this field of protection. All the markets and all the actors from this industry, to offer them a very secure environment in order to grow safely without those frauds. So initially we take DCB Protect as a protection for all the sales that would go through our API up to the payment operators. But now we see that it's not only that this solution is not only enough to protect, the telcos or the end user. I mean, it's also important to bring some other solution to our merchant, which is, by the way, our key partners, and that's why we moved on to this solution, traffic screener, with you guys.
Yes, and yeah, that's really interesting because first I wanted to add something that you are what you're doing is really like, we know that many players are not trying to fight fraud that well, and what is very interesting is that you at Echovox, you really found that fighting fraud could create a lot of value. And this is something that is very, very interesting, because this is how you create more value by fighting fraud. And this is why we start with DCB Protect together. And now, on our journey to create more value through anti-fraud, we work on traffic screener. And can you tell us more about how traffic screener brings value to your client, actually?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, yeah, DCB Protect is protecting the end user from fraudulent sources and a non-authentic act of consuming to the product. A traffic screener is a bit ahead from that, and it allows to the merchant that has signed up with us and by the end sign up with the telcos to have a clear and a very secure look on the sources of the traffic that they are putting through their monetization funnel. It's very, very important for them to have a good view on what they are buying, because at the end, I mean, they are working with those traffic sources, and they are paying upfront those traffic sources. They are monitoring that that traffic with those key performance indicators like click-through rate, etc., etc. And if it's all tainted with fraud, I mean, it's a total loss for them. So using traffic screener is giving them, the tools to optimize that upfront work with their traffic acquisition. So in order for them to gain, some advantage on the business, on their way to get that traffic on their product, and to give them that competitive advantage to those competitors that are not working with that traffic screener product.
Yeah, thank you for your testimonial, Frederic. I think it's very interesting to hear about. I mean, it's a good example of what we said earlier about how a payment means can bring added value to merchants.
And
Absolutely.
the journey is really interesting. So what was happening, because the main goal was to protect the end users. The main goal was to protect the end user, to preserve mobile carriers' brand image. So that's how we ended up by providing DCB Protect that solved this issue. We work very, very hard to solve this issue. Malware developers are working very, very hard on their side as well. They are investing a lot in order to use and to capture a part of the growth that is going through mobile today. And we see, because the merchants, they are it's really passionating. The merchants, they really started very quickly to see, okay, now that I have those fraud attempts detected by Evina, okay, so it means it was fraudulent. So it means I shouldn't have bought this traffic. So yeah. Okay, now that I know that I should not have bought this traffic, I cut this traffic source, and now I do see that my retention rate is growing because I have true customers, so they stay longer. Okay, now they stay longer. So the amount I was able to spend to buy the traffic, in fact, it was tainted by fraud, because I had a lot of wrong consumer in my database. So based on only the good customers, I have 6-9 times more revenue generated by the real customers. That's great, without the pain of having issues with refunds and so on. So I can spend 9 times more, and that was the base and what was bringing DCB Protect. And that's really the merchant, that's really you, Frederic, who asked us, guys, can you do more? Because it's really bringing value there. So we want to know if you can do more. And that's interesting, because in addition to the fake traffic that is generated by fraud, we can also talk about the fake traffic that is also detected by traffic screener, that is generated by monitoring compliance tools. These are needed tools that verify that end user are the end user journey is correct and respect all the rules. But you have bots that does loads and loads of clicks on the payment page to see what is going on. For instance, we understood, because they were with some merchants a lot of clicks on some parts of the pages that were irrelevant. We were not understanding how it was possible to have so much clicks outside. So much click outside the main funnel. It was done by monitoring tools, and it can be done by monitoring tools from compliance company, but it can also be done by monitoring tools from competitors. And if we are a bit paranoid, those monitoring tools from competitors can also change drastically the data that the merchants were seeing. So you came to us asking us if we were able to see beyond or before the real confirmation of the end user, and we ended up with this product that we are very proud to share with everyone.
It's important to distinguish from a payment subscription, because the merchant interest is not much. Of course, is to protect on the market scale, the end user and the telcos and the payment gateway at the end. But for them, the key part is to optimize, their traffic acquisition. And having tools like Traffic Screener, and we've seen that with a couple of merchants that were already using that, is that they can, select what source of traffic is good or not, and what they can afford to continue with. And by the end, if it's a shady source of traffic or unauthentic, then they can cut off very quickly without having, to pay upfront, the cost of that traffic. So I mean, it's beyond, the monetization part of a sales, but it's on the acquisition. So it's a double good effect for them to have that product onboarded. And this is the currently the approach that we have chosen to do, and it was based also from a big demand. And we are very thankful to you that you guys have developed this, features and that product in regard of this very specific demand.
You're welcome. We are thankful to you because you are this kind of payment provider that works hard to see how they can add value to their consumers. I know very well your CTO that has done a huge work into producing one of the most elegant API in the market. And what I want to say is that this is an example. Obviously, we are Evina, we are a cybersecurity company. We come with this tool and this new product, so it's an example. But the real point and the future battlefield for mobile payment is to add value, and you can do that by data analytics. You can do that only if the data is correct, which put Evina at the forefront of the battle. But that's really something where all the payment professionals should work on. How can I add value, or what are the payment gateways that will bring me the most value?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. We have still a few minutes left, like 3 minutes. Maybe if we have any questions from people listening to us, we can take maybe one question before the end. Or if there are no questions, I think David, maybe you would like to add a few things, maybe.
So something that is important also to understand from all the markets is that you have the right to say, I'm not okay with the traffic I bought to you, even if you're buying it to Google. Even when you're receiving traffic from Google, you get invalid traffic. And that's really important to understand that this problem is really for everyone. So the traffic sent by Facebook, the traffic sent by Google, the traffic sent by ad networks, other ad networks, is tainted by fraud because the economy is overwhelmed by criminals that want to leverage the digital transformation that is going on. And what you have the right to claim back the bad traffic that you bought. And tools like this one can help you as well to prepare reports and to claim this money. And we will be with you in order to explain to the ad networks. And it goes very, very well, because at the end, the ad networks, they are here to do business as well, and they want good traffic. So if we can explain, and if you work with high skilled professionals that can help you on this journey, you can work with the ad networks in order to get refund. And those amounts are very important. Those amounts can really change a lot your turnover at the end of the year. by more than 2 digits.
Yeah,
So
so I think I think our time is
I would add
over.
that even before getting into those action field, I mean, it's a question of prevention of what you are doing, and the good relationship that you can have with those traffic sources. So that's really important to add those both products.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think our time is over, but I think as a conclusion, as a conclusion, we know that what is really interesting is how payment means at the heart of everything that we talked, and it's like the whole monetization chain can rely on data analytics and on payment means, and this is really the future of payments. David, if you want to wrap it up and to say a few last words.
The few last words will be to thanks again, Frederic, for being with us today. To thanks the MEF for organizing this event, and to see you very soon, for real, in real life, with glass of beer and so on.
Great. Well, thank you everyone
that's a nice
for this great talk. Thank you very much.